Hi all, this is Simona Rich as always. I was preparing to record and everything was totally quiet, and then when I started, people started talking, but now they got quiet, so hopefully this video will be quiet. This is the last video of the series to take you deep into meditation. Hopefully I'm going to finish today. There are still quite a few quotes, but I'm going to squeeze them all in, I think, if it's not too long into this one video to finish this series. So again, this is from the book I Am That by Nisargadatta Maharaj, the book that I read many times and I love it. It really inspires me to meditate, so hopefully it will do the same for you. So the first quote is this question: can I make myself remember my state of deep sleep? Of course, by eliminating the intervals of inadvertence during your waking hours, you will gradually eliminate the long interval of absent-mindedness, which you call sleep. You will be aware that you are asleep. So here Nisargadatta Maharaj says that if you are always mindful on a daily basis, then you can understand that this is not the actual reality, but it's kind of like a dreamlike state. But if you don't eliminate those states of unconsciousness as a result of you not being mindful on a daily basis, then you will keep being asleep. Question: must I not renounce everything first and live a homeless life in order to achieve liberation? Answer: you cannot renounce. You may leave your home and give trouble to your family, but attachments are in the mind and will not leave you until you know your mind in and out. First things first, know yourself. All else will come with it. So many people externalize everything, so they don't deal with their minds, but they think that if I leave everything, I can gain enlightenment. But you don't leave your mind. Your mind goes with you with all the attachments. So even if a person is extremely wealthy, if he's not attached, he's closer to enlightenment than a poor person dreaming of wealth. So it's about the mind, not about what you do. And Nisargadatta Maharaj also says that you can live a married life, a conventional life, and still achieve liberation. He did. He lived a married life. So it's about your state of mind and not about external circumstances. Yet if you don't have any commitments and you want to live a spiritual life, of course it makes sense not to make those commitments. Yet if they do happen because of your karma, you should allow them to happen because it's in your destiny, and you just live mindfully and you will eventually achieve liberation anyway. My destiny was to be born a simple man. This is Nisargadatta Maharaj telling about himself. A commoner, a humble tradesman with little formal education. My life was of the common kind, with common desires and fears. When, through my faith in my teacher and obedience to his words, I realized my true being, I left behind my human nature to look after itself until its destiny is exhausted. I left my human nature to look after itself until my destiny is exhausted, not fighting what's happening in order to live a spiritual life, but just detaching from the body and all that's happening to it. Occasionally an odd reaction, emotional or mental, happens in the mind, but it's at once noticed and discarded. After all, as long as one is burdened with a person, one is exposed to its idiosyncrasies and habits. So here he tells that even now he may suffer from some human-like traits that are negative ones. Yet, as long as one has human body, even if one is liberated, he may suffer from such things also. though not in as great degree as most people. Even I haven't achieved liberation, but I did go through Kundalini awakening and achieved some spiritual levels, and I just don't have moods. So you are already getting out of this trap, the trap of the mind, when you are progressing spiritually. So my mood is always the same. Every single day I'm at peace, and I see people one day being happy, another day they're miserable, another day they get something that they want, then they are jumping from happiness out of happiness, and another day they can cry, and this finishes once you get firmly established on the spiritual path. As long as you cling to the idea that only what has name and shape exists, the Supreme will appear to you non-existing, because you're obscuring it with things that are very tangible, with things that can be defined, and then you cannot understand the Supreme state. When you understand that names and shapes are hollow shells without any content whatsoever, and what is real is nameless and formless, pure energy of life and light of consciousness, you will be at peace, immersed in the deep silence of reality. Question: we are told to meditate regularly. Answer: deliberate daily exercise in discrimination between the true and the false and renunciation of the false is meditation. There are many kinds of meditation to begin with, but they all merge finally into one. And he says that at first it's good for you to stick to spiritual practices and try to externally lead a spiritual life, but eventually all these will fall away, and then real spiritual life will start. So then you won't need to set times for special meditation. The whole life will become one big meditation. A man who moves with the earth will necessarily experience days and nights. He who stays with the sun will know no darkness. My world is not yours. As I see it, you all are on a stage performing. There is no reality about your comings and goings, and your problems are so unreal. So he sees people as so identified with their roles, not realizing that they are just playing in a movie of life. So for him, his reality is not that, not a play. He's a watcher of the play. So it's two different realities. Why do you worry about the world before taking care of yourself? You want to save the world, don't you? Can you save the world before saving yourself? And what is the meaning of being saved? Saved from what? From illusion. Salvation is to see things as they are. I really do not see myself related to anybody and anything, not even to a self, whatever that self may be. I remain forever undefined. I am within and beyond, intimate and unapproachable. So people often would come to him complaining that the world is horrible, that there are so many wars and how can they help. And he would always say that this is your world is horrible. There is some kind of water here. Strange, I don't know if you will hear. From upstairs balcony, I guess. So his world is not so firstly people should focus on changing themselves, and then their personal worlds will change. So he would often say, I don't live in a terrible world, you live in it. And the way to change it, firstly, don't try to change external things, change yourself, and then your personal world will also change. Being nothing, I am all. Everything is me, everything is mine. Just as my body moves by mere thinking of the movement, so do things happen as I think of them. Mind you, I do nothing, I just see them happen. And that's what happens even when you are not liberated. You understand that you are not the doer, and what's supposed to happen will happen. And I can give you a personal example. my mind starts dwelling on something to achieve, and it's actually not initiated by me, it just happens. And people who are identified with their bodies, they will think this is their idea, this is their dream, their goal, but actually it's not. You're part of this dream called life, and you're supposed to manifest certain things through you, and so the energy is there to achieve it, and the mind keeps dwelling on that thing. And it's so interesting when you are no longer that much attached to the body. So the mind starts dwelling on something, and it sees it in the picture form, and I just know it will be achieved because it's just there all the time. Like the way that I bought land in my country, it's just I kept dwelling on it, and it's not even that I wanted it, but it was supposed to happen, and it happened. The energy was there, and I had to buy it, and it was so easy to buy. Yet people who are not supposed to achieve something, they will try to achieve it, but there is no energy, there is no belief, because they are actually not supposed to achieve it. But real achievements, what you're supposed to achieve, they just will happen naturally to you without you even needing to do anything. You will be led to achieve it. The energy will be there. There is no difference. Your approach is wrong. There are no others to help. I don't know, what is this? Some kind of water is going from the roof, and it makes a lot of noise. Probably you hear it, but there's nothing I can do. There's always, when I record videos, such things happen. A rich man, when he hands over his entire fortune to his family, has not a coin left to give a beggar. So is the wise man, stripped of all his powers and possessions. Nothing, literally nothing, can be said about him. He cannot help anybody, for he is everybody. He is the poor and also his poverty, the thief and also his thievery. How can he be said to help when he is not a part? Who thinks of himself as separate from the world, let him help the world. How interesting. So some people believe that they want to get liberated because this is the ego wanting to gain power, because they believe that liberated people have lots of powers, many powers. Yet here he says that liberated people are as nothing. They are no longer separate, so they are kind of merged with the whole world. And so he says, ask to help those who think themselves separate from the world. Question: still, there is duality, there is sorrow, there is need of help. By denouncing it as mere dream, nothing is achieved. Answer: the only thing that can help is to wake up from the dream. Very often Nisargadatta Maharaj would say that the only way you can make change in the world is that if you wake up and you understand this is the dream. If you still think you're the character in the dream, and the dream is real, there is really nothing that you can do. You're totally bound by the world. Question: we are told of the great avatars, the saviors of the world. Answer: did they save? They have come and gone, and the world plods on. Of course, they did a lot to and opened new dimensions in the human mind, but to talk of saving the world is an exaggeration. Question: is there no salvation for the world? Answer: which world do you want to save? The world of your own projection? Save is yourself. Maybe save yourself, I don't know. My world, show me my world and I shall deal with it. I'm not aware of any world separate from myself, which I am free to save or not to save. What business have you with saving the world when all the world needs is to be saved from you? Get out of the picture and see whether there is anything left to save. Again, here he says that his world, he often says that his world is not the world of asleep people, and once you awake, then you may realize that there is absolutely nothing left to be saved. Weak-mindedness is due to lack of intelligence, of understanding, which again is the result of non-awareness. Lack of intelligence, ignorance, is the result of non-awareness. The less aware people are, the more ignorant they are. By striving for awareness, you bring your mind together and strengthen it. So daily mindfulness, being aware, trying to be aware of everything that's happening in you, in the mind, externally, strengthens the mind. So you don't need any special mental exercises to strengthen it. Just make sure you're aware as much as possible. Question: I may be fully aware of what's going on and yet quite unable to influence it in any way. Answer: you are mistaken. What is going on is projection of the mind. A weak mind cannot control its projections. Be aware, therefore, of your mind and its projections. You cannot control what you do not know. You cannot control what you do not know. If you're not aware how the mind projects, how can you control? You will not know what it will project. If there are many fears in the mind and you're unconscious, you will manifest them and react against them as external circumstances. On the other hand, knowledge gives power. In practice, it's very simple. To control yourself, know yourself. Question: maybe I can come to control myself, but shall I be able to deal with the chaos in the world? Answer: there is no chaos in the world except the chaos in which the mind creates. It's self-created in the sense that at its very center is the idea of oneself as a thing different and separate from other things. So the mind creates chaos, and the way that it does that is by thinking itself to be separate from the rest of the existence. In reality, you are not a thing, nor separate. You are the infinite potentiality, the inexhaustible possibility, because you are all can be. The universe is but a partial manifestation of your limitless capacity to become. It is not the worship of a person that is crucial, but the steadiness and depth of your devotion to the task. So here the person asked, do I need guru? Do I need to worship my guru to achieve liberation? Because, for example, in India, this is very usual. Many people are naturally devotional, so they actually find themselves progressing spiritually by totally devoting themselves to some guru. But actually, here, Nisargadatta Maharaj explains that it's not about devoting yourself to some person, but about devoting yourself to the task. Life itself is the supreme guru. That's what I also say, that there is no need for external guru, and if you need to have it, then that guru will come, but there is no need for it, because life itself, if you are aware, if you are mindful, you understand that every single day things happen to teach you, to perfect you. So life itself is the best guru that you can have without any flaws whatsoever. Be attentive to its lessons and obedient to its commands. When you personalize their source, you have an outer guru, and this is often the case for people who always project things, who are not aware, who are not in turn, who are not focused on the self, but they are very externally minded, and they need these external gurus to come into their lives. When you take them from life directly, the lessons, the guru is within. So if you ignore lessons of life, then of course you need some external person to come and teach you. But if you're aware, every day is a huge lesson. So life itself is a guru. Remember, wonder, ponder, live with it, love it, grow into it, grow with it, make it your own. The word of your guru, outer or inner. Put in all and you will get all. So it's about how much devoted you are to getting liberated, to your task, rather than getting external guru for you to get liberated. Why must he come here to get advice? Can't he get it from within? Any person, with regards to getting advice, do they need to come to Maharaj or anyone else to get the advice? Answer: He will not listen. It's probably about some particular person. His mind is turned outward. That's why people whose minds are turned outward will always have to seek some teacher. They are not able to receive lessons from life itself. But in fact, all experience is in the mind, and even his coming to me and getting help is all within himself, yet projected, because this person is externally minded. Instead of finding an answer within himself, he imagines an answer from without, because when there is a question, naturally the answer is there, but because of the time space, we have to sometimes wait to get an answer. But you don't need to search for some person to give you an answer. Life itself can give you an answer. All this is merely a flicker in the mind. I am infinite peace and silence in which nothing appears, for all that appears disappears. Nobody comes for help, nobody offers help, nobody gets help. It's all but a display in consciousness. Question: we can observe what may be called spiritual progress. A selfish man turns religious, controls himself, refines his thoughts and feelings, takes to spiritual practice, realizes his true being. Is such progress ruled by causality, or is it accidental? Answer: from my point of view, everything happens by itself, quite spontaneously. But man imagines that he works for an incentive towards a goal. He has always a reward in mind and strives for it. Question: a crude, unevolved man will not work without a reward. Is it not right to offer him incentives? Answer: he will create for himself incentives anyhow. He does not know that to grow is the nature of consciousness. He will progress from motive to motive and will chase gurus for the fulfillment of his desire. So it's in nature of consciousness to expand, but people who are not aware, they will think they will desire something, they will achieve, then they will desire again, they will seek for things, but actually it's just the nature of life to do so. So we don't need to actually do anything, and eventually there will be energy for us to grow. When by loss of his being he finds the way of return, he abandons all motives, for his interest in the world is over. He wants nothing, neither from others nor from himself. He dies to all and becomes the all. To want nothing and do nothing, that is true creation. To watch the universe emerging and subsiding in one's heart is a wonder. And it's true, when you get detached, at least a little bit detached from the body, you just watch what's happening. And yes, the mind will still may try to achieve something, but it's just the nature of this universe to expand, but you're no longer part of that, but you're just a watcher of it. The great obstacle to inner effort is boredom. The disciple gets bored. This is the question. The answer: inertia and restlessness, tamas and rajas, work together and keep clarity and harmony down. Tamas and rajas must be conquered before sattva, clarity, can appear. It will all come in due course, quite spontaneously. So yes, some people can be restless and there could be negative traits, yet there will come a time when that person will start becoming more sattvic. Is there no need of effort then? Answer: when effort is needed, effort will appear. When effortlessness becomes essential, it will assert itself. You need not push life about, just flow with it and give yourself completely to the task of the present moment, which is the dying now to the now. For living is dying, without death life cannot be. Get hold of the main thing, that the world and the self are one and perfect. They are already perfect. Only your attitude is faulty and needs readjustment. This process of readjustment is what you call sadhana, spiritual practice. You come to it by putting an end to indolence and using all your energy to clear the way for clarity and charity. But in reality, these all are signs of inevitable growth. You were supposed to do it. Don't be afraid, don't resist, don't delay. Be what you are. There is nothing to be afraid of. Trust and try. Experiment honestly. Give your real being a chance to shape your life. you will not regret it. So just tune into being, and there will be no need of effort. What will need to be accomplished will get accomplished. Question: I have understood very well that social service is an endless task, because improvement and decay, progress and regress go side by side. We can see it on all sides and on every level. What remains? Answer: whatever work you have undertaken, complete it. Do not take up new tasks unless it is called for by concrete situation of suffering and relief from suffering. Find yourself first and endless blessings will follow. So if you want to get liberated, don't take on new tasks, new responsibilities, but try to be with yourself. Nothing profits the world as much as abandoning of profits. A man who no longer thinks in terms of loss and gain is truly non-violent man, for he is beyond all conflict. Question: yes, I was always attracted by the idea of non-violence. Answer: primarily, non-violence means what it says: don't hurt. It is not doing good that comes first, but ceasing to do hurt. This is so important. I see, for example, vegans who so pride themselves in not hurting animals, but they hurt people with their militaristic attitude. And I'm talking about some vegans, not all. So firstly, drop all violence rather than displaying the acts of goodness that you do. Ceasing to hurt, not adding to suffering. Pleasing others is not non-violence. And the final quote: there are no conditions to fulfill. There is nothing to be done, nothing to be given up. Just look and remember, whatever you perceive is not you, not yours. Whatever is external, whatever can be defined, cannot be us. It is there in the field of consciousness, but you're not the field and its contents, nor even the knower of the field. It is your idea that you have to do things that entangle you in the results of your efforts, the motive, the desire, the failure to achieve, the sense of frustration. All this holds you back. Simply look at whatever happens and know that you are beyond it. So this is the spiritual practice. Whatever you can see, whatever you can hear, whatever you can perceive, you cannot be that. And once you do the spiritual practice by understanding that you're not this, you're not that, you cannot be that, then you can gradually get detached from everything that is not you and get established in the supreme state and finally achieve liberation. So that's the end of the video. I squeezed all of it into one, all of these quotes. So this is the end, and as I said in another video, I really enjoyed making these videos and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. That's all for now. Have a lovely day. Take care.